such a difficult situation. And it's okay, somehow, people who suffered great extermination, well, they can feel betrayed by United States.
Right.
Because they did absolutely nothing. However, when you had a Pearl Harbor, suddenly, boom, wait, okay, we need to join that war.
Right.
So you see, it's a trigger point here and there. Right. But certainly, suffering of others, it wasn't. And you can feel betrayed or not so ever. I think that the Churchill, as good as he was for his nation, right, that he betrayed, and together with Roosevelt, betrayed Poland sort of, yeah, I would say so. Because that under circumstances, I fully understand their position. That somehow they had to divide influence within the new European order.
Yeah.
And they gave up Polish territory.
Yeah.
And how was that Polish army being under government in exile and Great Britain, like in London, right? How would they feel? Especially that they did contribute. You heard about Monte Cassino, that the British army couldn't achieve that. It was so fortified that they couldn't, win in there and then recapture the monastery. But Polish did.
Yep.
And most of them are from that eastern part where they never get back their own properties, right?
Yeah.
So did they feel betrayed? Probably they do.
Yep.
But in the magnitude of war, it was some, little things, little episodes, but people did suffer. They did, that their experience, and it's very strong. Another thing about that betrayal is that was a victory parade of nations in London, right after Second World War. All the nations with allies, right, they were marching, except Polish army.
Huh.
They were not allowed to march.
That's terrible.
They were fighting. Oh. They were fighting the Polish the pilots. They were fighting for Great Britain, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So those Squadron 302, 303. So they did have some influence, and they came right to walk and enjoy this, victory days. However, it was denied, and I fully understand why. Because they didn't want it to make Stalin upset, right? That they are recognizing the government on exile in London.
Wow.
Why? Because already Poland was liberated and Stalin set up his own government, right? Fully dependent from Soviet Union. And so, right? So we do not recognize them. And those two governments, they were still functioning until in 90s, and somewhere in 90s, that the last president of the government in exile, Kaczorowski. I don't remember his first name, right? But he was the last president who officially said that, okay, now, since Poland is liberated, so we are, releasing that government is not officially, is over. And what's unfortunate with this, you see, that there are a lot of circumstances that last president of the government on exile in London, right? Mm-hmm. He was going on that unfortunate flight to Katyn, to Smolensk, where the government the plane was, fell down and everybody died, including President Kaczynski.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of that?
Yes.
That was,
Yes, I am.
That was what? right?
Yep.
So that last president was a part of that delegation. So he also, died in that airplane crash.
Right.
So, some different circumstances. So there is a lot of open wounds, a lot of things here and there, and we could go. I'm not familiar with many of them, so you can find a lot of stories, but it's a matter of recognition of that suffering and injustice.
Yes.
So there is a lot of injustice is this, but I can much better relate to people who suffered in injustice and that way become more sensitive to what they are experiencing.
Yeah.
Right.
So now, moving on, what qualities do you think helped your parents survive?
I think adaptability to the circumstances and situation, and also the religion is a part of that giving the hope and strength through the religion that that everything goes and comes, and it's got a certain purpose, and you have to go on and hope for the best.
Okay.
Because what happens is that if you suffer through hunger, through injustice, discrimination, and so on, and malnutrition, because they ate whatever was available, and it was definitely not enough, right? So then they developed those skills, you have to how to count on yourself.
Oh, okay.
So, and the mentality is that, okay, you got a bike broke, so you don't call any service or AAA that the car went down, the broke down, and somebody will fix it for you and you pay for it. No. You have your two hands, you have your head, you try to fix it.
Okay.
And do anything in your power to survive that situation. So
self-reliance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That you cannot count on many times, and that way, that makes the family ties stronger. Why? Because if you couldn't physically do something, but your family member could, then they were relying on each other.
On family,
and
yeah. Okay.
That's right. So that made those family ties even stronger.
Okay, great. And now, what kind of lessons or values did your parents impart in you or pass on to you?
Well, it's sensitivity, right? And being delicate, don't express anger, just be more objective, listen to everybody, and make your own research and your own conclusions.
Okay, great.
So,
great.
It's
okay.
more on the defensive side and more on peaceful solutions instead of, aggressive.
Okay, great. And now, do you think you may have gained positive values from your parents' experiences during the Second World War?
Absolutely. There is an undeniable thing that, it did influence the creation of character.
The creation of your character in what way?
That's right. And
in what ways did it shape your character or create your character?
I think being more stubborn in a way that, okay, when you set your goals, you keep going, and doesn't matter where you get, you're going to get better and higher. You may not achieve your ultimate goal, but you are going to be closer to it. So you have